Creamer Media's Mining Weekly Online is speaking to Phillip Barton, the Managing Director of the Beers Consolidated Mines. Phillip, you had licenses granted to you by the government to explore for diamonds in South Africa, which is really good news. Can you update us on that exploration program of yours?
Yeah, thank you, Martin. We're always excited about exploration. I think I've mentioned to you before, I worked for 4 years in our global exploration division, and so I'll share the optimism and the fun and the excitement of looking for new deposits with our geologists. So, as I reported before, at some stage we weren't granted licenses, in earlier times, and that has changed. We've got 32 licenses granted at the moment across a number of provinces. And my board has recently, after the gazetting of Mining Charter 3, has approved the 2019 exploration program. So depending on how it goes and how quickly we get on the ground, we did a lot of preparatory work. We will probably spend in the region of 30 million rand this year on greenfields exploration in South Africa. Who knows what we find, and then that number will grow. We've always been very clear that we believe South Africa to still be highly prospective for diamonds, and we maintain that decision, and we keep on using our historical data to help us in this quest to find that proverbial needle in a haystack, and that will continue this year.
And will they be near Kimberley or around Kimberley in the Northern Cape? What is the concentration of the location?
Yeah. We've always been quite clear on that as well, that most of our data and information are around some of the mines that we own and used to own. So it won't be no surprise to see that those licenses are in the Northern Cape, around the Kimberley, Finch areas, a number of those in Limpopo, around the Venetia area. We've had Koffiefontein mine in the Free State, so there's a little bit in the Free State. And then Northwest has always been sort of an interest to everybody. We go and look at Northwest and we see a lot of the alluvial diggings there. And those diamonds come from somewhere, so we've always been looking for the sources in the Northwest. So quite widespread, but one would expect people to be and to focus and concentrate for diamonds in South Africa.
And is it better exploring for diamonds in this modern era than it was before? Is technology mediating any sort of benefit for you?
Absolutely. There's all the time new technology being developed, and I think that's why it's so key for us to maintain our databases that we had. So old information with new technology often tells you a lot. So we go back to some historical information that we've got and then re-look at it with some of the new technology. We cover some of the old ground where in the past we found things of interest. We cover that with new technology again, and that will be our recipe going forward. And let's keep our thumbs crossed, because we're down to Venetia, although it's a massive tier 1 diamond mine, but that's our only producing asset in South Africa at the moment. So yeah, we need to add to Venetia for growth of De Beers in South Africa.
And getting to the Venetia, you are spending $2 billion there to actually make sure that you go underground. Can you update us on that? When is everything going to happen? What sort of technology are you going to use? Does the outlook look good?
The outlook looks good, and we've embarked on a fairly aggressive plan for Venetia mine, where you'll recall early on we decided on a scope change to change from a sacrificial input decline to put a decline in from surface, and that has progressed very well over the last few years, so much so that that's opened up an opportunity to do development towards the ore bodies before we finish the shafts and the shafts infrastructure, which will give us earlier access to some of our underground operations. So we're looking at accelerating our mining through the open pit, and based on current rates that we're achieving, we're on track to actually exit that pit in the region of 2 years earlier than planned a year or two ago. And so we're hoping to exit that pit at the end of 2021, which will then allow us to start going in underneath the ore body. So at the moment the race is on to get the development from the decline, because we're going to mine K1 as an open pit to 450 meters, so to go in just underneath that. And in the meantime, the results that we got from our slope stability indicated that those slopes will stand up for a couple of years to go. So before we were leaving a 50-meter safety margin for us between the bottom of pit and the start of the underground, we can actually now go directly in at that 450-meter level that opens up, sort of a further 50 meters of ore across that ore body that we can mine through what we call the top of mine underground, which is from the decline. So that's very exciting. So it will take us about 2-3 months after we finish the open pit, before we can take the first blast into those ore. So we are targeting March 2022 for our first ore out of K1 from an underground perspective. K2 will be slightly earlier, but that will be relatively small. And then the rest of the mine, in terms of the shafts, are going exceptionally well, and that is ahead of schedule at the moment. And I may add, below our budget, and we want to keep it that way, and that will allow us for the full transition still in 2024, as planned. But bringing an top of mine underground forward by about 21 months is challenging. So on the open pit we are on track, the underground a little bit more challenging, but we remain confident that we'll achieve those dates. So very exciting.
And how long will that mine last, and how many diamonds will you get out of it?
Well, at the moment, the indication are that this will take us to the mid 2040s, 2043, to be exact. Diamonds, probably as many from the underground as we mined from the open pit, so just under 100 million carats between 2021 and 2043. And we're also looking, the underground mine is built for a capacity of just over 8 million tonnes per annum. The plant at the moment is a bottleneck, so lots of work going on there in terms of technology, etc., to debottleneck the plant further, and that will make it even more exciting in terms of our diamond production from Venetia in the years to come.
And is modernisation of the way mines are operated, is that helping you? Have you got a choice of different technologies now that you can examine? Have you settled on any of them?
We haven't settled on where we had to. We've settled already, but we're keeping our options open as long as possible. And it's not just about technology. It is about technology to modernise, automate the mine, but it's also the change management, getting the mine, our systems, our employees ready to make sure that they've got the skills in this process of modernisation, and also getting our communities ready for that, to make sure that modernisation in the underground results in a win-win, for all stakeholders in that process. And some good work is being done in that regard as well.
And how many diamonds are being produced? How many diamond carats are being produced by the Beers Consolidated Mines currently? And will you be able to continue that or increase the level of production with these new operations, or do you just keep them at a constant level?
Well, at the moment, the underground is based. That's going to keep us at a constant level, and we've told the market it will be about 4.5 million carats per annum. As I said, there are exciting opportunities to increase that in debottlenecking our plant, but at the moment the plans are set at 4.5 million carats per annum.
And what is the diamond market like? What happens to these South African diamonds? How do you get them into the globe? Give us the process and the route.
Yeah, the process, what we do is that we've, under the various pieces of legislation, we are a large producer, so therefore we can export all our product without going through the process of offering these at the DEEC and paying the export levy. But the understanding then is that we bring back 40% of that by value. And the importance of that to the local industry is that we are not producing enough larger goods that can be cut and polished profitably in South Africa. So our goods are being exported, and then we bring back, as I say, larger goods to support the local industry. So that's our aggregation model, and so some of the smaller goods then end up in places like India, etc., and the larger goods on an aggregated basis come back from, and that aggregation comes from our Botswana mines and Namibian mines or Canadian mines, and that way we are able to provide the right goods to support the local cutting and polishing industry.
And is there sort of a transformation aspect in that cutting and polishing? Are we seeing any transformation developing there?
We do see that in the larger areas, and they've got to speak for themselves, but some of these guys are very small. It's sort of one man or woman organizations where it's very difficult. The larger ones are doing it. So what we've decided is we've started a beneficiation program, and we've recruited 5 potential one-day site holders for South Africa. That is our ultimate dream. And we've taken these 5 people through training. We're supporting them to get their own cutting and polishing businesses going. They will be graduating soon, and then we'll take in, then we'll have the next intake. But this really is taking them through the whole business. They do have a love for diamonds, and they do have skills in cutting and polishing, but we're setting them up in terms of marketing, running their business, a broader range of skills that we're supporting to do. And then we've been working with government and supporting them to give them exposure to some of the trade shows, Hong Kong, etc. So it's a very good program, and we're hoping to build on the successes that we had with the first intake.
That was Creamer Media's Mining Weekly Online, speaking to Phillip Barton, the Managing Director of the Beers Consolidated Mines.